Hi guys, my name is John Allen.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Bodie.
Hey, y'all, my name is Justin Gambino.
Hey, everyone, I'm Phil Stacy.
Hey, guys, it's Hope Harding, and you're tuned in to Kingdom Builder.
Hey everyone, a new film hits theaters this weekend called Sarah's Oil, and I am proud to be joined today by the producer of that film, John Shepard. John, how are you doing today, man?
Fantastic, Jay. Thanks so much for having me on the program. Very excited about it.
Well, I'm excited to have you on here. I got a chance to see a screening of this new film, and it's an amazing film. I love films that are based on true stories, and this new film, like we said, is called Sarah's Oil. It is based on a true story. And for the audience that's watching today who might not be familiar with this story in the movie yet, can you tell us a little bit about the movie?
Sure. Well, I was looking for a story about someone who achieves the American dream, overcomes incredible adversity and resistance. And I was thinking a recent story, somebody created a business and my business partner, Cyrus, who's directed a number of great films, said, I've got a story about a woman who overcame incredible odds. She became one of the first Black millionaires in the U.S., and she was only 11 years old. I was like, what? When did this happen? Well, it happened in the 1910s. I thought, oh, is this a depressing story? He said, no, it's the most inspirational, hopeful, exciting journey you'll ever go on. And sure enough, he gave me this script that oh my gosh, for anybody who's ever had a dream, who's been discouraged or had it stomped on, but is willing to stick to it and overcome adversity with unwavering faith, this is inspiring. And it'll be inspiring for families and kids.
Yeah, and this movie, has some familiar faces in it. Zachary Levi, of course, we know from American Underdog and from Shazam. So he's in this film. And, with these seasoned actors involved, you also have a relative newcomer in Naya Desir Johnson. What was it like watching the dynamic between these two on set?
We saw over 500 or 600 girls for the role of Sarah. And when we met Naya, she came into the office. And Zach is an improv comedy guy. He goes off script and he is the funniest guy you'll ever meet. So he was throwing her lines and she was keeping up with him, throwing her. And she was only 10 years old. In fact, she turned 11 while we were making the movie. She is talented. She's engaging. Watching them together was like magic. They just played off, riffed off, teased each other. She's going to be she's just a gem. She's a star. And there's no other way to say it. God was waiting to fund this film until she grew up to be the right age to play the part because she's just terrific.
Yeah, like you said, Zachary is a very funny guy. He's also brilliant in this role, but Naya really steals the show here. I mean, what impressed you the most about her performance and her ability to carry on such an important role?
Naya's mom is a director. She'd done one little short with her mom before, but she's a listener. And, really good acting, I think, is listening. I mean, really good interviewers and interviewing is not just waiting for your time to talk, it's listening. And when I see Naya, she engaged as a listener, somebody who was really present. And for the Zach and her together to be fully present and connected and to really listen to each other, it goes along with the message of the movie, which is God is speaking to us all the time. The secret is getting the message. You got to listen. But to do that, you got to sit in the dark in a theater, which I think is the new church of the masses, and watch people in the light tell us what it is to be human, and then be changed by that, be transformed. That's my excitement about this film and watching them together is they just are magic on screen.
Yeah, and the one thing that I thought was really cool about the film is not only the film was just a great film to sit down and watch. I really love the historical aspects of the film, being able to watch something a story that I didn't even know about prior to watching this movie. But one thing I say that she steals the show here because there are several times in the movie with the dialogue between the two characters. She at one point says to Zachary's character, "Stop cussing." And I thought that was hilarious because it's like you have a 10-year-old child telling an adult, "Stop cussing already," and then just the faith-based elements that are, in the story, it just makes it that much better.
Yeah, I showed it to some pastors, and there's not anything cuss-wise that would bother anybody. But what I like, it's very mild, but because of the period. But she catches Zach every time, and they say, that works for us because yes, she is a little moral barometer in the film, not only for him in language, but for his life. And what does it say in Scripture about little child shall lead them? She just not only does she steal the movie, she steals Bert's heart, Zach's heart. She stole our hearts because she's just so innocent, precocious, feisty, and determined to inspire others to follow her. And she has agency. And for a 10-year-old girl who has no reason to believe that she can do what she's going to do, it's quite inspirational to me as a filmmaker. If she can do it, I can do it. And if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Exactly. And, this film, is, like I mentioned, is one that's based on a real life story and a real life person. And I know that that's always a challenge, especially when you have a film that takes place, this film, we're in 2025, this film, period actually took place back in the 1910s, like you said. So we're over 100 years removed from the story. And the movie is actually based on a book called Searching for Sarah Rector. How difficult was it to bring the true life story when the source material and the real life person are over a century in the past?
Most difficult film I've ever worked on. The period, the heat in Oklahoma, trying to be authentic, to work with the Native American tribes, to work with the Black community, to work in an environment where you are shooting in 100-year-old buildings, where you show up the day of and the elevator to the 10th floor where we're shooting breaks. And everybody has to go up narrow staircases created 100 years ago with equipment, cameras, furniture. It was unbelievable resistance, very parallel to Sarah's journey, although not as, it's relative, right? But it was a real lesson in faith when you get into situations trying to make a difficult movie that's a period piece, and you've got costumes and dogs and horses and cars, and everything that could go wrong in this film did. But because of that, it's actually better. And we lost actors during shooting. We got better actors. We lost our DP. We got an amazing DP in Johnny Durango. The producers of this movie, did I Can Only Imagine and Jesus Revolution, and now they're doing House of David. We had quite a creative team, but I've never prayed so hard in my life to get through a movie. It was difficult.
Yeah, and the one thing that I really like just the story that this film told, but like I said, I can't like say enough about the camaraderie between the two characters. I really think that was cool, and I would imagine you being on set, witnessed a lot of this stuff. If going back to when you guys were filming the movie, or even the finished film, is there like a scene, not giving away too much from the film, is there a scene from the movie that you really felt was profound, like a scene that you really enjoyed most, you're looking forward to audiences seeing?
Well, here's the story, is Bert, who is basically a wildcatter, teams up with Sarah. She needs some help, bringing the oil up out of her land, needs a wildcatter. He thinks he's doing something nice for somebody else. Isn't that just like us? We always think, I'm doing something nice for God or for my church or for this person. And it turns out, actually, no, they're the bigger blessing in our lives. And in this film, Sarah is the bigger blessing to him because she talks to him about something nobody's ever mentioned to him, his soul. And he's like, soul, my what? And this whole film for me, Jay, was really about, I thought I was doing a good thing, blessing the world with this message of overcoming adversity. And what I found out during making the movie is, John, the world doesn't need this message. You need this message. And that was very humbling, but it's because I feel him in it through the whole thing. It was just, wow, okay, I get it. Anyway, there's the scene is really her talking to him about it was never about the money. It's about your heart. It's about your faith. It's about your soul.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, going into our closing question, one thing I always ask filmmakers during conversations about movies is, obviously, when you're making a film, you have a goal in mind. A lot of more mainstream movies, the goal is to entertain people, entertain audiences. But with this one being, more geared towards faith-based audience,
yeah,
you want a takeaway message to be taken away when they leave the theaters. So with Sarah's Oil, when people see this movie this weekend and they leave theaters, what is the biggest thing that you hope that they take away from it the most?
The biggest thing I hope that families will take away from this, and I do think it is for families, I think it's for young people with a dream, and I think anybody that has a dream is a young person. So it doesn't matter what age you are. My takeaway is this: she was given 160 acres or inherited from the state of worthless, hardscrabble, unsuitable for anything, rocks, lizards, and weeds land. It was a gift, but people told her it had no value. They discounted it. They discouraged her. They just tried to destroy it. They tried to steal it from her. She had a conviction that was what was given to her was from God. And she listened to that land, to that gift. And then she decided, well, this is what I've been given. I got to use it. I hope that young people that have a dream will not look at their life and say what they don't have, but say, you know what? I've got something that was given to me. It's got my name on it. I have the deed. I can sell it cheap, outright. I can let it be stolen. I can get it stomped on, or I can fight for it. And I think that I hope that people will see we each been given gifts, and it's not a sin. The only sin, it's not a sin to be poor. It's not a sin to have, it's a sin not to use what you've been given. And boy, does God use it when we're available. It's not about ability. It's about availability and listening. That's what I hope the takeaway is.
Amen. Well, John, I appreciate you joining us today to talk about the new film. Sarah's Oil is in theaters this weekend. I hope that you go out and make plans to see it. When we go see movies in theaters opening weekend, it tells Hollywood that we want more movies like this. So go make plans to take your family to go see it this weekend. And John, I'm praying that God can do some big things with this film and encourage people along the way. Thank you so much for joining us.
Jay, thanks so much. A movie about community needs to be seen in community.